Today's guest is a women's transformation coach who helps women who have been pushed down and have been playing it small due to toxic relationships or unhealed childhood traumas to create a life that is true to them and to their soul purpose. She's the founder of Unapologetically Abundant podcast and Rise and Thrive online program. Welcome to the show, Petia. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, Toby. And what a beautiful morning. Well, for you, it's almost the ending of the day. For me, it's the start of the day. So I am doing wonderful, just moving through the morning today.
Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Mirror Talk. I would love us to start with you sharing about yourself and your journey of personal development and self-love after, some years of eating disorder and constantly searching for someone to make you feel better.
That's a great question, and also a really great way to start, because I see it not only in myself, for decades I was outsourcing my worthiness and my happiness and always looking for something outside of me to make me happy, whether it's relationship, whether it's traveling, job, school. I was always thinking that when I do this, when I have that, then I will be happy. And it was always making me feel even more empty. That's why I turned into eating disorder, toxic relationships, where I was settling on relationships that were making me feel less than, because I didn't know any better. When I was growing up, my stepfather was mentally and physically abusive. So I was thinking that that's normal. That's normal, that you should just shut up and do whatever you're told, that you are, just here to serve others, but not in a loving way, but just like people pleasing and do whatever it takes, right, to make everyone else happy. And I put myself so far on the back burner that it came that far that when I was 18, I ran away from home. And the same year, I attempted to suicide because I didn't want to live. I was thinking that if this is the life that it's expecting me, I don't want to live it. And I know that even if we don't get to that edge of trying to take your own life, which that's right, the extreme, so many people nowadays feeling stuck and unfulfilled, and deep inside they are carrying that feeling that there must be more in life. But they just don't know what that more is and how to even live it. So when I was around my 30th birthday, I was again feeling that heaviness and darkness and unfulfillment. And the worst was that people, when they look at me, they would think my life is great. I was married back then to a handsome guy. I was competing, doing fitness competitions, so my body looked like magazine worthy. I was working in a corporate job, having a team under me, so I had a great money. But I was coming back home feeling empty and alone and ununderstood and guilty, because when people would look at me, they're like, oh, you have such a great life and you are so perfect with your husband. But they just saw the outside. They didn't know that he was, narcissistic, that he was cheating on me, that, he would giving me a silent treatment and don't speak with me for the days. Nobody saw that. So when I was in it, I thought that there must be something wrong with me because of everything that keep perpetuating in my life. And that was the moment when I said something has to change. Something has to change. And that's when I embarked on spiritual and personal development journey. That's when I found, videos and YouTube and episodes from Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Joe Dispenza, Les Brown, Tony Robbins. They became the one who gave me hope. And that's what I needed. I truly needed just the hope. I truly needed to see that there is something better on the other side of when I'm living. And so many people, especially after 2020, for me, 2020 was great. Like our business grew, and for me, it was great. But I know that many people, they were faced with discomfort, with fears, with not knowing what to do, right? And so I feel that now it's such a perfect time to just pause and reevaluate your life.
Wow, how are you able to, survive, the urge to commit suicide? How did you, survive that stage? Because I know it's very critical and very, complicated to have that feeling, to want to end it all.
For me, back then the first time I was 18 years old, and I ran away from home because my stepfather would beat me up. And I was in relationship with a man who was very possessive. He was very jealous. He was so jealous that he didn't want me to even speak with my own mother. He didn't want me to engage with my classmates in work, at school, and just come right away home. And so I was under so much pressure, also dealing with the eating disorder, that I just, one day when I came home early from school, I just ate all the sleeping pills that we have at home and drank wine to make sure that, it will work. And back then, that day, he was working in constructions and some machine broke that day, so he came home earlier. So I find myself in a hospital, they pumped my stomach. I find myself in hospital. And then I was going to psychologists and psychiatrists, but it was just, for me, my experience was that it was making me more crazy because I felt like, I don't know, I felt so much resistance, So that what really helped me to go through that was asking for help, like my teacher, my classmates, then moving away from the toxic relationship and really investing the time in myself. And a lot would help me was nature. Like as much as I could, I was in nature, back then I was running and I was always in a forest and close to the lakes or rivers. So really letting nature help me to heal. And then since then, it was just a journey. We're all on this journey. It will never end. It's not like you will get one day to something like, oh, everything is perfect, butterflies and rainbows. But I feel that the more you know yourself, the more you respect and value yourself, the way you teach others how to treat you, it's the way you treat yourself. So it all starts with you. And when I declare to myself, and that was recently, that was maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, when I declared that I won't settle on jobs, I won't settle on pay, I won't settle in relationships, that's when everything started to unfold for me because I was open and I was present to not tolerating any more than what feels right for me.
That's very good, and I respect the fact that you embark on this journey with so much strength, with so much power to leave back all the toxic relationship, everything that was limiting you behind, and now becoming a full being who is even transforming other people's life. I respect that. Thank you so much for your strength and for everything you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I receive it, I receive your acknowledgement. And on other hand, I feel like for some reason, I didn't have a choice. That's what I feel like. People acknowledge me that, oh, you're so confident, you're so strong, you're so courageous. And for me, I feel like I didn't have a choice. Right? Sometimes we're in that survivor and it's like, okay, I know that I'm meant for more. I know that I'm meant for better. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not here. If you're I remember when I was going through some of my darkest moments in life, I read a quote that says, if you're going through the hell, keep going. And that's something that I really want to share with people. If you're somewhere where you don't belong, you know it. Deep, deep inside you, you can feel it. If you're fulfilled or if you're doing things just going through the motions, keep going. Like every time you take one step, the next step will unfold itself because you won't never know what to do unless you do something.
And from your success story already, can you tell me how you create and live your dream life right now?
I love that. I love that question because I was just thinking about it this morning. So we went to the gym with my husband and we were talking separately with 3 team members, and I was getting frustrated because what I had envisioned wasn't happening. And he was like, just breathe through it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And as I was getting frustrated, I was like, oh my gosh, Petia, pause for a moment. Like, look around. You're living with the man of your dreams who treats me like a queen every single day. I have a team all around the world that is, supporting me and loving on me. I live in a safe place in a beautiful Las Vegas.
Mm,
I can travel. I make more money than I've ever done in my life. And I know this is just the beginning and I'm working 2 days a week.
mm,
So I'm like, let's put it in perspective, right? Like things might not always go as you picture them, but I feel like it goes into appreciation. So, how I built my dream life really went back into knowing who I am, knowing what are my core values. I created a few years ago with my mentor core values of mine, and I realized that it's loyalty, generosity, integrity, and growth. And when I did realize my core values,
yeah.
I look around on my life and nothing was matching.
Oh,
Nothing. Not my relationship, not my business,
mm,
nothing. I'm like, wow, what am I doing?
mm,
So slowly and surely, I started to drift myself from that.
mm,
I let go of, I divorced, I let go of my relationship. I let go of my business. My first business was social media marketing management. I let go of that. And you could say I started from zero, but we never start from zero because we always learn something everywhere we are. And we always use part of that. So there is nothing ever lost.
mm,
And knowing my core values really helps me to reevaluate my life and say, okay, what is that I truly desire? What is that I truly want? Where do I see myself in 5 years?
mm,
The decisions that I'm making every day, are they aligning with that or are they taking me further away from that?
yeah.
So I think that the most important step for me was the having the core values, knowing who I am, what I stand for,
Mm,
and then doing the inner work, like healing myself, forgiving, letting go.
yeah.
And with that, I created a space and created a new business, met the love of my life 3.5 years ago, just got
Mm,
married a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
So I allow myself to be me. And when you
Mm,
allow yourself, that's why everything I preach, it's about being unapologetically yourself. Because when you're unapologetic, the abundance comes. And I don't mean only the money, but I mean the health, I mean the relationships, I
mm,
mean the love, all of that. It's truly abundant life. And the freedom to be yourself, it's priceless. So
yes.
that's how I built my dream life. I know it seemed too simplistic, but being yourself, it's the reason why you're here. That's your purpose.
Yes.
So when I started to be myself and allow myself to change and shift when appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I was able to build my dream life.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great. And once again, congratulations on your wedding. I wish you happy married life and yeah, all the blessings that come with it. Earlier, you're talking about recognizing your core values and doing the inner work in order to exhibit these core values in your life. But sometimes, from earlier from your story too, you were talking about the traumas and the issues that the toxic relationship from the past, and all of this could cause limiting beliefs in our lives. So, what are like some other circumstances or situations that we face in life that could cause us to have limiting beliefs, how can we also gain our freedom from this slavery of limiting beliefs and the perception of other people, how other people look at us or think or believe in us.
Mm, that's a great question. And we all have limiting beliefs. It's not because I had a trauma. So we all have them because we're conditioned to have them. When you
Mm,
think about it, just the way we are raised, and it doesn't matter where, on which continent you are growing up,
yeah.
our parents pass their limiting beliefs on us, and just the super like basics, like it's hard to make money, right? Or all men cheat, or it's just like way we are conditioned by our parents and grandparents, because they live in a different times. They want to protect us. They want us to have a better life than they had.
Yes.
And what happens is they are well-meaning, but we are different people living in the different times. So instead of protecting us from harm to happen to us, they're protecting us also from abundance and well-being and prosperity, because we all have limiting beliefs. I thought that I'm unlovable and I'm not enough and I'm not special. And some of them I'm still working through, like comparing ourselves with others. It's just, I think that we all have them, but it's important to check in with yourself. Is this still true? There are beliefs that are keeping us safe, like
Yes.
don't go at night through the desert park, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's like don't go in a parking garage alone at night, whatever, right? It's like these things, like common sense, they're still serving you. But then
Yes.
there are things that we think like, oh, I'm not special, I'm not smart enough, what if I fail, what if people judge me? Those are not yours. When we are born only with two fears: the fear of noises and
Yes.
fear of falling down. Everything else, it's learned and conditioned. So when you have a fear or limiting belief, ask yourself, is this mine? Is this
Yes.
mine? Really? Did I created it, or where did I learn it? Where did I hear it, feel it first time? If this is not mine, is this still serving me? Like I said, some beliefs can be still serving you, like it's good to have savings, or it's good to have a good relationship with money, right?
Yes.
Some beliefs we learn from our parents. And I used to tell my dear grandma always, like, why didn't you teach me a relationship with money? She was so amazing with money. She had so little and did so amazing. And me, I make money and I give it away, right? So I'm like, why didn't you teach me? So there would be some things, that beliefs that would be good for me to learn or keep. But you got to check with yourself. Is this mine? Is this serving me? And is this really, 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 really true? Is that really, really true, that you're not enough, that you're not smart enough, that you cannot be rich and abundant and loved? Is that really, really true, like unshakable fact? Most of the beliefs we have, they're not.
True. That's very true. That's very true. I like the fact what you've been talking about since we started already was, looking within and asking yourself those questions. Know your core values, know who you are. Those are very key notes that I'm going to take from this episode, actually. Like, I should know who I am and know what I believe in. I am born for abundance. So if anything else tells me you're not born for abundance, then I know that's a lie. That's wrong.
Exactly. You gotta really, like, knowing yourself, it's everything. Like I work with 3 mentors right now. I'm getting certified as a breathwork teacher just this weekend. And all these things help me to go deeper in knowing myself, deeper in knowing my body. I hired a mentor who is teaching me about human design, to better understand who I am and why I came here.
Yeah.
And I do human design readings with all of my clients, because I want them to understand themselves. I want them to have this confidence and knowledge in who they really are. Because if you just think about it, no matter what is your goal in life, when you are clear and confident in who you really are, nobody can shake you.
True.
It's like, for example, like if somebody comes to me and say, hey, do you want a cigarette? I'm like, no, thanks, I don't smoke, right? Like, why would I do that? Or, hey, do you want a piece of steak? I'm vegan. No, thank you. I don't have to think about it, right?
True.
And we waste so much of our energy on thinking, should I do this? Should I say that? Should I say something better? Should I go and travel? Like, so many things. But when you're clear about who you are, it's easy. Yes or no. Is it the heck yes or heck no? It's in your body. You get to go back and trust your body, trust your intuition, and let it guide you.
Yes. Can you educate me on human design? You just mentioned it now. I really have not read so much about it. Can you tell me about what human design is?
Absolutely. So human design, it's like ancient downloaded reading about it. It has a different modalities: astrology, numerology, I Ching, chakras, Kabbalah, all of these amazing teachings all in one. It was downloaded to a man. I don't remember his name, Ra something. And it's just it's like a chart, our human design, like why we came here, what is
Yeah.
our purpose. And
Mm.
there are four different types, of designs, like generator, projector, reflector, manifester, and then also mix of manifester and generator, manifesting generator, so five
Mm.
like different personalities.
Mm.
And when you know your design, you know how to respond to life. You know how to manifest your desires. You know how, like, what is your purpose, why you came here. It's very complex studying. And I feel like we can be studying it for the rest of our lives. But when you know the basics, when you know your strategy, when you know your design, when you know
Mm.
your profile,
Yes.
and like I said, if somebody's hearing this for the first time, the
Mm.
only thing you really get to know, it's you can go on Google, find human design free chart, and just put there your name, your birthday, your time of birth, your where you were born,
Mm.
and it will pull up your chart, and then you can read and learn about yourself. And just yesterday, I met with one girl, and I mentioned her about human design. She's like, "Oh, I think I heard of it, but I don't know what it is."
Mm.
So I created her chart in like 1 minute, just download it and tell her some things that I can read, just, like just on top of like the chart,
Yes.
because it can be hours and hours and hours,
Mm.
but just a little bit. She was like, "Oh my God, like this is so accurate. I can't believe this."
Mm.
So it really goes down into knowing yourself. When you know who you are, when you know why you came here,
Yes.
everything else becomes easier for you, because you feel like, okay, I'm meant to be here, and you trust yourself. And then
Mm.
I feel like it's the confidence that sells, and it doesn't matter if you're selling broccoli to your kids for dinner, or if you're selling, a high ticket sell,
Yes.
on your business. It's important to be confident in who you really are.
Destination Morocco podcast, the show that takes you away to the beautiful country of Morocco. I am your host, Azadine El Mustakim. In each episode, we explore Moroccan culture, history, attractions, and activities. Real and practical information coming from experienced travelers and native Moroccans like myself. Our goal is to help travelers that are struggling with planning any type of trip to Morocco. Our company, Destination Morocco, builds personalized tour packages that will ensure you enjoy our country just like a local. Follow us at destinationmorocco.co. Let's go exploring.
That's true. That's very true. And talking about knowing who you are, discovering who you are, I would love us to talk about your podcast, your awesome podcast called Unapologetically Abundant Podcast, where you take us on a journey of self-discovery. So can you tell me more about this podcast and what's this inspiration behind it, and what are listeners supposed to look forward to when they listen to your podcast?
I love it. Thank you so much for mentioning my show on your show. It's very sweet. It's funny because when I launched my podcast almost 4 years ago now, it was called Be Strong Minded, because I wanted to blend the mind and the body and the spirit. So B is the being, strong, it's the strong physical body, and
Yes.
minded, it's the mindset. So I had it for almost a year, and then I realized that when I became unapologetically me, that's when the abundance came. So
Mm.
that's why I created and changed my podcast name into Unapologetically Abundant,
Mm.
because I realized that when we allow ourselves to be us,
Yeah.
the abundance know where to find us.
Mm.
So
Oh, that's
that's what
true.
I do. And I do quick solos, just like inspiration and sharing my journey. And
Mm.
I also do podcast episodes with the guests.
Mm.
And I love interviewing people who are living the abundant life by being themselves. So they're sharing their journey and how to, so people can relate to their stories and see what they can do on their journey.
Can you educate me on how I can shift my mindset into abundance?
Oh, that's an amazing question. And the thing is, it will really depends on where you're coming from and what are your beliefs. For each and every one of us, it will be different. But what really helped me is to create like a journal or create like a list of positive aspects, because like I was sharing with you, like this morning, I was getting like frustrated, right, with the things not going up my way. And how I shifted it was through appreciation and acknowledging what is working. Because when we think about scarcity is like, oh, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough energy. But as Tony Robbins says, it's not about having the resources, it's about being resourceful. And that's something that I learned throughout my journey, to be resourceful. No matter where you are, you'll figure it out. You always did. Like, like if your listeners are listening to us, it's usually on a, some kind of device. So they're not living in a jungle and eating like rabbits, whatever it's in a jungle, right?
Yeah.
It's really about looking around and appreciating what is working, creating a list of positive aspects, even about the things that are dragging you down. Like even when I was working in a corporate and I didn't want to be there, I started to work on a positive aspects, like, oh, this pays my bills and I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm learning about customer service. So it's really about looking what is working and what abundance really means to you. For me, abundance, it's freedom and to be wherever I want, to be able to work from home and be able to work 2 hours, 2 days, 2 days a week, because I used to have 4 jobs and work 7 days a week. And I was miserable, mentally and physically. And now I allowed myself to be just me. And now I'm abundantly paid to be me. And it's so fulfilling.
That sounds great. And I wish everyone who is listening to this also to embark on this journey to become also, abundant in every in every area of their lives. That would be so awesome. That would be great. That's my wish and my desire for everyone listening to this. That's my, yeah. But your mission is to, help women, to transform women's life. What inspired you to embark on this mission? I know it's partially from your background, your story, from your past. But what was like the pushing force for you to, want to help women to become better, to leave that toxic relationship, to, become the best version of themselves?
I feel that I became the one that I needed on my journey, really. I needed somebody to hold my hand and nurture me. And really my purpose here is to align other women with their purpose. And it's through nurturing and sensitivity. I used to work really hard. I used to be a lot in my masculine energy, like doing, performing, providing, protecting, because I didn't feel safe when I was growing up. And then when I allow myself to step into the feminine flow and nurturing and receiving and trusting my intuition, trusting my emotions, that's when everything started to change. So I'm really here being the thing that I needed on my journey. And people don't care about what you say or what you do. They will see and feel your energy, and that's what is really so contagious. So my mission is really to awaken women to their possibilities and be unapologetically themselves and live a life that is true to them, instead of being everything for everyone and people pleasing. It's just like realizing what is their purpose and aligning with who they truly are.
Yes, and you help women, to go through this. You pair like the feminine flow with strategic planning to give them like this immense clarity, and you give them the exact steps to take, to go from side hustlers to CEOs to become successful like you. That I find that really that inspiring and very good that you do that for people.
Thank you. It's on my journey, and everything is just like journey and unfolding and learning, right? So on my journey, what I did was, like I mentioned, I was a lot of masculine energy, like planning, strategizing, like very focused, very like linear thinking. And then I went on to completely other side, like, like just like being in the flow and don't plan anything, and spiritual and meditating and like, oh, whatever is mine will come to me, right? And just like feed up on my table, and it's like, oh, it's meant to be, so it will come to me. However, I learned that none of those extremes really were serving me a long term. So I'm like, okay, let's marry these two, let's balance them. So now I'm pairing both, is the feminine flow and embracing the spirituality and embracing the intuition and the emotions, and also pairing it with the strategies, because without the strategies you will be just free floating but not helping others. And I am here to help other people, to help other people. I work only with women because my husband, he works with the men, I work with the women. So we have it divided at home. Because it really lights me up to work with women. Of course I can help men. Of course I had clients in the past, like male, and I'm more than, it's not like, oh, wrong gender, not helping you. It's not like that, right? But this is what really lights me up. If men will come to me and say, listen, like, I really resonate with you, I really need help, like, this is what I've been through, I resonate with your story, can you please help me? If I feel good with that person, there has to be resonance. I'm open to help. It's not like, oh, wrong, nope, don't helping you. No, if it lights me up, the person, I'm more than happy to help them. It's about knowing what lights you up, and following that. And like, I always look at this analogy of a beautiful lighthouse, like standing there and being shining and bright, and those people who are your people will come to you. The opportunities and everything will come to you, but you gotta shine really bright.
And before one shines really bright, and before one takes that step of moving towards abundance, I think and I believe it's also very important to process the grief and heal from all the toxic relationships from the past. How can we do that? Are there like some tips you could give us? How can we process, grief? And also, how can we heal from all past relationships, or as in past toxic relationships?
Those are two very powerful topics. Grief is something that I've been working through these past, couple months, because my beloved grandma, she just passed away 5 days before my birthday, a couple months ago. And that was really heartbreaking for me because she was my everything. She was my baby girl. I call her every single day. I love her to life. So working through the grief was something, that I was facing myself. And what really helped me was to release our idea of life and death. It was release the need to have somebody physically here, right? It's to be celebrating all the good moments. Like, it still makes me smile to think about our moments when I lived in Spain and I took her there, and like so many beautiful memories. So it's really releasing the ideas of what things should look like. Right. And every single day, and that's what I did the past decade with her, every single day, treating our loved ones as it's the last time we see them. Every time I call her, I tell her I love you like a crazy, and I made her laugh, because you never know when is the last time. And it doesn't matter if the person is young or old. If you love someone, you gotta tell them. And that's why I don't have any regrets. I wanted to buy her house, and I wanted to make her feel rich, and I took care of her. I didn't have the chance and time to buy her the dream house, but I have no regrets in my heart. So I feel that to process grief, it's truly to live with no regrets, to know that we loved, that we lived, and that we were really present. That's a big one, and then just releasing the idea of that it's the ending. I don't believe that, whatever religion or spiritual people believe, I don't believe that, like, we came here, live for a few years, have babies, and then die. It's just like, it doesn't make sense to me. I truly believe that we are energy, and the energy will just change the form. So that will help to me. And then asking for help and talking with loved ones, because when something happens in your life and you're processing through grief, people will be checking up on you the first day, the first week, maybe two, but the pain will be there 2 months later. It still will be there.
True.
So really asking for that help and that support, that's important, and going back to like healing toxic relationships. Again, it goes back into loving yourself. When you love yourself, you don't let anyone to treat you wrong. And also realizing that you haven't done anything wrong. Because very often when we are living in toxic relationships, whether it's our parents or friends or lovers, right? It doesn't matter. It's relationship. Sometimes a toxic relationship can be with food, with money, with ourselves, right? It doesn't have to be pointing out, it can be pointing in.
Yes.
It's realizing that you haven't done anything wrong. Very often we blame ourselves and something is wrong with me. I cannot do this. So accepting where you are and taking it one day at a time, pouring into yourself, one day at a time, loving on yourself and being really open and willing to heal, like the awareness, it's very important. And I do a lot with my clients inner child healing work, because it doesn't matter how amazing parents you were, you had. Very often there are still stories that we think that we were not loved
Yeah.
like we needed. We were not heard or seen as we needed. Even if we had the most loving parents and they were working and they were not there with you 24/7, you're like, oh, they didn't love me enough. And like their explanation of love, it's I will take care of my child so they have a better life than I did, so I will work really hard. But then there is not the quality time that the child wants. So like I said, it's like forgiving yourself for all the choices that you have done and forgiving others, not forgiving, right? That's the difference.
Yes.
But forgiving them because they really did all they could.
Yes. From your coaching experiences now, for example, like, and you also made mention of earlier, like, a child, a parent taking care of the child, but giving the child everything that the child needs, but not giving the child the quality time. Those are like, some those are some childhood traumas that that happens to people. So from your coaching experience, can you tell me some signs that show unhealed traumas, especially childhood traumas?
One of the things is that people say I don't remember much from my childhood. That's one thing, because we're blocking it off, because we're in survivor, because we think that, oh, that's not a big deal. And then look at your current life and relationships. Are they loving? Are they nurturing? Are they fulfilling? Because if not, by the age of 7, we already have decided who we are and if we are worthy and if we are lovable. And we take it with ourselves into the adulthood. So if your relationships don't feel good, if you're in a job that it's not fulfilling, then there is something from your past telling you that you don't deserve a better, that you're not worthy, that you're not, worth of love and abundance and ease. So all these things usually sprouts when we are kids.
When we become adults, are there like some things that we notice in our friends' lives or in our partner's life that says, oh, you still have some issues to deal with some from your childhood? Are there some things I could take note of, or people should take note of?
Absolutely. It's like if you want to know, how your future will be and what brought you here, look at where you are right now. Because if you don't change, nothing ever changes in your life. One thing that I love asking my clients, if nothing ever changes in your life, are you okay with that? Because most people are not. I am. Listen, Toby, if nothing ever changes in my life, I'm good. I love what I do. I love who I am. I love my relationship. I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. Everything else we want, bigger house, bigger car, having a baby next year, all these are cherries on the top. Those are like beautiful extras, right? It's just the expansion. But if my life, nothing ever changes, I'm good.
And that's awesome. That shows you that you're in a stable state of your life where you are satisfied with everything. You're in a comfortable state of life.
Yeah. And like I said, of course, there are upgrades. Like, yes, I want a bigger car, right? Yes, I want a bigger home with a big backyard and pool. Like, those are my desires, but those are not the things that make me feel miserable and not wanting to wake up in the morning from the bed. And that's how I used to live. I didn't want to be adulting. I didn't want to be waking up from the bed. It was tiring.
So for someone who is going through that, for example, who is still having these traumas, how can they redefine it to something great or something purposeful for their lives?
It will really depend on what happened in the past and what are your beliefs. So it's not like cookie cutter and like do this exercise, you will be better, right? I feel like it all goes into awareness. And what really helped me was to do an exercise about like a dream life. because this is something that anyone can do, like really writing and journaling about your dream life. Where do you live? Who do you wake up with? How do you create impact and income? And writing the whole day, from the waking up till going to sleep, that whole day. And then taking a couple colors, one color, highlighting the things that you already have in your life, and then another color highlighting the next thing that you desire. Because when you do this exercise, you will realize a lot of things that you already have, which brings gratitude and appreciation. And then you will also see the gaps, what things you don't have, and asking yourself, why I don't have them yet? What are the beliefs that are stopping me from having that, right?
Yes.
So that's like the first step of seeing, okay, I accomplished this and I love that. And what is the gap between who I am and who I want to be, and between what I have and what I would like to have? And what is stopping me? Because what is stopping you? It's you. It's not your partner, not where you live. It's all of that. It's changeable. But wherever you are, you will take yourself with you.
And what I can hear from that is, one has to live life intentionally, like, where you're right now and where you want to go to, and try to find a way to get there to where you want to go to. Like, don't just go with the flow, but go with your intentions.
Yes, I think that being intentional, it's everything.
Yes. On your Instagram page, I told you before we started recording that I was going through your post. I'm sure I'm still going to go back after this podcast recording to Instagram page, because it's filled with so much enlightening and inspiring content. And I will put the link to this Instagram page in the show notes for this episode. So anyone who's interested could just click on the link or copy the link and reach out to you on Instagram also. So on your page, I found a post on the grief cycle towards empowerment. Can you explain this to me? What's the grief cycle towards empowerment?
And that's such a great question, because I feel like sometimes we are trying to jump over. We're trying to bypass, right?
Yes.
Like we are trying to bypass what is happening. We want to go from, something happened, we are shocked, into going into using why did this happen, right? So
Yes.
when I'm talking about the grief cycle towards empowerment is recognizing that there is a wave of emotions and what is happening. So the first stage, it's really shock. When there is a grief, there is a shock, something happened. And even though I was treating my grandma like she doesn't have to be here tomorrow, still when my mom called me and she said she passed, it was shock at first. And then I was going through the cycle of denial, this is not possible. How is it possible she's not here? I can't believe. And then I was frustrated and upset because I was taking care of her, financially. I was sending her so many vitamins and supplements, and she was doing the things that I was telling her to do. Yes. So I was so frustrated why it didn't help. And then I went through a phase of depression. There was such immense pain in my heart that I didn't want to be facing the world. I miss her. I want to hug her. I want to kiss her. I want to make her laugh. I want to hear her every day, right? And then we go through the stage of experiment, right? So who am I now? Who am I now when this person or this situation, it's not here anymore? And then we declare and decide who we are in the world, who we really are. And then we integrate. And the last, stage of integration, that's all that we have learned and went through, it formed us into a new being.
That's awesome. That's really beautiful. I went through, I was reading it and I was like, wow, this is very inspiring. Sometimes we think we could jump from, shock to integration immediately, but it doesn't help. It doesn't work that way.
We cannot bypass, really. We can't, because if you don't feel your feelings, if you don't go through these stages, you will be forced to go through them again and again and again until you go really the full cycle.
So what you are telling me now is just to allow myself go through the whole process of, from being shocked and going through the frustration, for example, till I come out and become integrated again.
I feel like you really get to take a moment to see what state you are in. Where are you in in that cycle and truly feeling your feelings, allowing yourself to be where you are, and tell other people like, hey, I need a moment, I need a time, I need a space for myself.
Yeah.
And knowing that this too shall pass, this is something that I kept reminding myself the whole time. This too shall pass, nothing lasts forever, right?
Yes.
And so even the pain, and what would also help me throughout my journey, and this is not like me like telling everybody to do that, but we did a plant medicine with a shaman, and I had a vision there of my grandma, and she told me there, like, you have to release. I'm fine, you have to release. And that's when it was like I was crying so much, and I was feeling so much pain and so much grief. But in the end of it, I felt lighter, and I still miss her, but I don't feel that pain inside of me that I used to feel, because that pain was almost unbearable. Like my heart was physically hurting. It was like losing my child. I cannot even imagine to, go through that, but that's how I felt with my grandma.
Yes.
So allowing yourself to go through the stages and take it slow and not trying to jump.
That's awesome. That's great. I'm just going to leave it that way. As in, I encourage everyone to get in contact with you in case they want to walk through this grief cycle towards empowerment. And maybe they could get some tips, get more advice from you, or maybe some coaching. And talking about coaching and courses and advice, can you tell me about your Rise and Thrive online program, and also the I'm missing this word, unapologetically worthy course that you offer?
Absolutely. So, like I realized that then there's only so much I can do in person, because I love doing in person. We do retreats. I just, like last weekend, I finished the retreat, Abundantly Aligned, here in Las Vegas with women. So we host retreats throughout the year. And then I realized that not everybody can travel, right? Especially last year.
Yes.
Not everybody can really be present, So I created a Rise and Thrive online course that helps people go, men, women, helps people to really rise above their limiting beliefs, rise above their traumas, and creating the better relationship with themselves so they can be thriving in life. And Unapologetically Worthy is about finding and creating your own worthiness and feeling loving and deserving. And we too work on limiting beliefs and strategies and tips on how to feel worthy, because when you're feeling worthy, everything else like falls into the place, right? But if
Yes.
we're feeling unworthy, no amount of strategies will help us. So this is like going back to the basics and really creating the sense of worthiness inside of you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great. I'm so blessed to be speaking with you right now. I'm so blessed to be speaking with you right now. And while talking, I've been reflecting on my life personally. Going through the grief curve and listening to your story, talking about toxic experiences or relationships. Not that I've experienced them personally, but from stories I've heard from close ones, and it's just a blessing to speak with you. And I really appreciate everything that I've been able to learn from you. But in case there are some people out there who would love to work with you, maybe some women that listen to this episode and would love to connect with you and work with you, what's the best way to reach out to you to enroll to your course or get some advice from you directly?
So the best way, I would say, it's Instagram. I love being active there. So sending me a DM there, or sending me an email at hello@petiakolibova.com, and we can schedule a free clarity call. You can schedule that on my website too at petiakolibova.com, because in a place that I am right now in my life, I'm very selective who I work with because I want it to be aligned with you and me, and really feeling like a heck yes. So scheduling a free clarity call, it's the best way to really see if we are a good match and if I can support you on your journey. And if not, I know so many other coaches and beautiful souls that I can refer people to. So really trusting that alignment.
Yes. One thing I've learned from you from this episode is, I will say it again, like, know yourself, know your values, and try to heal from the past experiences, from traumas and from toxic relationships. That's one thing I'm going to take home from this episode. But is there other things you love to tell the listeners out there, words of advice that you love to tell the listeners out there to in order to have abundant life also like you?
I feel that a mantra that I created for myself, that I start to live and that I share with my clients is, you are perfectly made for your purpose. You could see it also on my Instagram as a quote.
Yeah.
I truly believe when we embrace who we really are and stop comparing ourselves, stop reaching outside, but really going inside and seeing how magnificent we are. And that the way we are, the way we look, the way we speak, our experiences, our accents, right?
Yeah.
It's all perfectly made for our purpose and why we came here in this lifetime. When you realize that, when you really let this mantra click in your mind and your heart, you will be liberated and free to be yourself. And that's what this world really needs. People who are liberated, free to be themselves, and who are shining unapologetically.
I wish you all the enlightenment that you need to become greater and bigger and, have everything that you desire for. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your work, for having me here today, and for creating this beautiful podcast so people can be inspired and really grow. So thank you. It was an honor.
Wow, you made it to the very end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your time, your love, and your contributions. Subscribe, like, review, and share this podcast. God bless you. Bye.